dig a simple hole in the ground. You drop in an old log, maybe a broken branch, maybe a piece of firewood you forgot about. Then you add a strip of metal. Nothing fancy. You cover it back with soil, pour a little water, and then you walk away. No machines, no wires, no electricity bill. But beneath that soil, something strange begins to happen. The wood starts absorbing moisture from every direction, slowly swelling like a sponge. Tiny organisms, invisible to the eye, move in. Bacteria, fungi, worms, all working together. And as they feed on that wood, they don't just break it down. They release energy, not metaphorical energy, actual electrons, actual electrical activity inside the soil. At the same time, the metal you buried begins reacting with minerals underground. Moisture turns the soil into a natural conductor. And suddenly, without you seeing anything, you've created a system, a quiet system, a hidden system, a living system, one that stores water, feeds plants, and yes, even produces small amounts of electricity. Sounds impossible? It's not. In fact, versions of this idea have existed for centuries. The story doesn't start in a lab. It starts with farmers. Long before fertilizers, before irrigation systems, and before modern agriculture, people noticed something simple. When wood was buried in soil, plants grew better. No one wrote it down. No one explained it scientifically. They just observed and repeated. In parts of Europe, farmers began building raised beds using logs, branches, and organic waste. They stacked wood, covered it with soil, and planted directly on top. Over time, these beds became incredibly fertile. They held water longer. They needed less maintenance, and crops grew stronger. This method later became known as Hugelkultur, or mound cultivation. But here's what makes it powerful. The wood doesn't just sit there, it transforms. As the buried wood slowly decomposes, it acts like a reservoir. During rain, it absorbs water. During dry periods, it releases that water back into the soil, like a natural storage system. That means roots always have access to moisture, even when the surface looks dry. But that's only the beginning. Because decomposition is not a silent process. It generates heat. Billions of microorganisms feeding on organic matter create thermal energy as a byproduct. That warmth spreads through the soil, creating a microclimate. Seeds germinate faster. Plants grow earlier in the season. Cold damage is reduced, all from something as simple as buried wood. No electricity, no equipment. Just biology doing its job. Now, here's where things get even more interesting. Because inside that decomposing wood, something else is happening. Microbes, especially certain types of bacteria, don't just consume organic material, they move electrons. In scientific terms, they participate in electron transfer processes. In simple terms, they create tiny electrical currents. This is not theory. Modern researchers have built devices called microbial fuel cells that capture this energy. These devices use soil bacteria to generate power, enough to run sensors, small electronics, even transmit data. And the fuel? Organic matter. Like a buried log. So now think about this. Every time wood breaks down underground, a small electrical system is forming. A natural one, self-sustaining. Continuous. As long as there is carbon to consume, the process continues. That means your soil is not just alive, it's active. But there's another piece of the puzzle, one that comes from a completely different part of the world. Deep in the Amazon rainforest, scientists discovered something unusual. Patches of soil that were impossibly fertile. Dark, rich, deep, surrounded by land that was normally poor and acidic. This soil could grow crops for years without losing productivity. And the strangest part, it wasn't natural. It was created by ancient people. This soil is known today as terra preta, or black earth. And its secret lies in one material, charcoal, but not ash, not burnt waste. A special kind of charcoal known as biochar. Thousands of years ago, people in the Amazon took organic material, wood, food scraps, bones, and heated them in low oxygen conditions. This produced charcoal that was stable, porous, and incredibly long-lasting. They mixed it into their soil, and over generations, it transformed the land. Why? Because biochar is not just carbon, it's structure. Under a microscope, it looks like a network of tiny tunnels and chambers. A single gram can have an enormous internal surface area. That structure does three important things. It holds water, it traps nutrients, and it creates habitat for microorganisms. But there's something else. Biochar also affects the electrical properties of soil. It improves conductivity. It helps ions move more freely. And it holds positively charged nutrients like calcium, potassium, and magnesium, preventing them from washing away. In simple terms, it turns soil into a better system, more efficient, more stable, more productive. Now combine this with what we talked about earlier. Decomposing wood, generating biological activity, even electrical flow. And then something else enters the picture. Metal. In the 1800s, a simple experiment showed something surprising. If you bury two different metals in moist soil and connect them, you can create electricity. This is known as an earth battery. The soil acts as an electrolyte. Moisture and minerals allow ions to move, and electrons flow between the metals. It's basic electrochemistry, but it works. Early inventors even used this concept to power small devices. And in some cases, people noticed something unexpected. Plants growing near these setups look different, healthier, greener, stronger. At the time, no one fully understood why. But today we know that plants respond to electrical signals. It's called electrotropism. Roots can grow towards certain electrical conditions. Nutrient movement in soil can also be influenced by charge differences. So now, step back and look at the full picture. You have wood, storing water, feeding microbes, generating biological activity, biochar, holding nutrients, improving soil structure, enhancing conductivity. Metal, introducing electrochemical reactions in moist soil. Each one works on its own, but together they interact. They support each other. The wood keeps the system moist, which supports microbial life, which generates activity. The biochar stabilizes nutrients and provides space for microbes to live. The metal interacts with minerals, creating tiny electrical gradients, and all of it happens underground, quietly, continuously. This is not magic. It's not a hidden conspiracy. It's simply a combination of natural processes that most people never think about together. So what does this mean for you? It means soil is not just dirt. It's a system, a living system. And when you understand how its parts work together, you can improve it without relying entirely on external inputs. Now here's the practical part. If you want to experiment with this idea, start simple. You don't need advanced tools. You don't need expensive materials. Start with a trench. Add untreated wood, logs, branches, natural material. Avoid painted or chemically treated pieces. Cover it with soil. If you can, mix in some charcoal or biochar. Even small amounts can help. Water it, then plant above it. Over time, observe. Notice moisture retention, plant growth, soil texture. This is not instant. It's gradual, but that's the point. Systems like this improve over time, not overnight. And if you want to go further, you can experiment with adding simple metal elements into the soil, not for large-scale power, but to explore how soil chemistry changes. Just remember, keep it safe, simple, and grounded in real expectations. Because at the end of the day, this is not about creating free energy machines. It's about understanding the hidden interactions beneath your feet. The ground you walk on is not empty. It's active, alive, and far more complex than it appears. Most people look at soil and see dirt, but if you look closer, you'll see a system that stores water, cycles nutrients, supports life, and quietly moves energy in ways we are only beginning to understand. And sometimes, all it takes to unlock that system is a piece of wood, a bit of carbon, and the patience to let nature do what it has always done.